Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, The Science of God. Chapter 14, Ideal Family Life. Text number 40. Is that right? Tatorchayam harim kechit samsradaya saparyaya upasata upastapi nartadha purusha dvisham tatorchayam harim kechit samsradhaya saparyaya upasata upastapi nartada purusha dvisham tatorchayam harim kechit samsradhaya saparyaya upasata upastapi nartada purusha dvisham tatorchayam harim kechit samsadaya saparyaya upasata upasas nartada purusha dvisham tatorchayam harim kechit samswadhaya suparyaya upasata upastapi natada purusha dvisham tatorchayam harim kechit samswadhaya suparyaya upasata upastapi nartada purusha dvisham tatorchayam harim kechit samsradhaya saparyaya upasata upasapi natada purusha dvisham. Ladies? Tatorchayam harim kechit samsradhaya saparyaya upasata upastapi natradvisham tatorchayam harim kechit samsradhaya supayaya upasata upastapi natada purusha dvisham tatorchayamarim kechit samsradhaya supayaya upasata upastapi nartada purusha dvisham tataha thereafter archayam the deity harim who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the form of the Lord, being identical with the Lord. Kechit, someone. Samsradaya, with great faith. Saparyaya, and with required paraphernalia. Upasate, worships. Upasta api, although worshipping the deity with faith and regularity. Na, not. Artadha, beneficial. Purusha dvisham, for those who are envious of Lord Vishnu and his devotees. Sometimes a neophyte devotee offers all the paraphernalia for worshipping the Lord, and he factually worships the Lord as the deity. But because he is envious of the authorized devotees of Lord Vishnu, the Lord is never satisfied with his devotional service. Purport. Deity worship is especially meant for purifying the neophyte devotees. Actually, however, preaching is more important. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 69, it is said, Na cha tasman manushyeshu kaschin me priya guttamaha. If one wants to be recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he must preach the glories of the Lord. One who worships the deity must therefore be extremely respectful to preachers. Otherwise, simply worshipping the deity will keep one in the lower stage of devotion. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmaye Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kada Mahiyam Tadati Svapadantikam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam. Okay, so, very interesting verse. You know, sometimes the devotees want to get their second initiation. They're very enthusiastic to get their second initiation. Then the next thing we know, they're all piling onto the altar when there's Snanyatra. or some abhishek, right? There's a pylon. And so you could be forgiven for getting the impression that, being a brahmana and being on the altar is very important, right? And of course it is. It is, because, as is explained here, the deity is non-different from Krishna, is Krishna, right? So that opportunity to worship and to be in close proximity to the Lord is special. It is special. And the Archa Vigraha is honoured and valued, extremely valued and appreciated by the devotees, because Krishna is personally present in the Archa Vigraha. So to worship the deity is a great opportunity to do some service, direct service to the Lord. But there's a warning here. A warning here. There is a higher service. Right? Interestingly enough, there is a higher service. And Prabhupada mentions that here. However, preaching is more important. Interesting statement. Preaching is more important. I was just thinking about this morning. Prabhupada quotes Bhaktivedanta Thakur. How do we measure the success of a devotee? How do we measure the success of our devotional service? Anybody know? The success of a preacher. Books distributed, devotees made, temples opened. Have you heard that before? Yeah. So, not that the deity worship is not important, because it is. And it's essential, as is mentioned here, for the neophytes. Right? And it's interesting, I mentioned this more than once before. Even though Srila Prabhupada says preaching is more important, did he stop opening up temples? No, he didn't. Did he stop installing deities? No, he didn't. In fact, it's quite interesting if we look at the history of the Melbourne temple. Prabhupada installed, or even if we look at the Sydney temple, Sydney is perhaps more unique, but Melbourne is also similar. When Prabhupada installed Radha Gopinath, he didn't have any brahmanas. Right? And then he initiated a number of, some devotees, even here in Melbourne, when he installed Radha Vallabha, he initiated a couple of devotees, Ganesh and Shuklam. They got their first and second initiation straight away. Right? Because Radha Vallabha need to be worshipped. So, Prabhupada understood the necessity of deity worship deity worship and preaching to go along side by side. The preaching is more important. What does Prabhupada say? Yeah, here. Preaching is more important. It's here in black and white. Yet, the deity worship goes hand in hand with the preaching. What are some of the advantages? Just think for a moment. What are the advantages for neophyte devotees in performing deity worship? Make a list. Make a list in your head and pick the top 3. And when you've got your top 3, raise your hands. Or it 1. If it's too early in the morning to think. Okay, what are some, raise your hands if you think you know. Benefits for neophytes worshipping the deity. Dvija? What's that?
Brings one into the Brahminical standards.
Yes, such as? Cleanliness, punctuality, regularity. Yes? Victor? Purification. Yeah. Yeah. Detachment? Attachment to what? To Krishna in the form of the deity? Yes, sure. Yep. What else? Sibya, anything more? Become more humble. I'm not sure about that. You would hope so, yes. But not if we see, I'm a Brahmana, step aside, here I am. Right? So sometimes not more humble. And that's what this verse is about, actually. So yes, certainly regularity, cleanliness, punctuality, discipline. There's lots of rules and regulations in worshipping the deity, so one has to pay attention to detail. It's an essential element in bhakti is to pay attention to detail. Right? Just like last night, the 9 o'clock cook didn't clean the oven, the cooktop. Right? I'm going to speak disparagingly here about some people that I won't name. Right? And we want to find out who cooked the 9 o'clock last night. But have a guess what? The kitchen managers don't have a roster, so you can't check. Right? We can't go and see who did it. This is poor management. And management is about detail. It's about deity worship. It's making sure that everything's on time and that everything's clean. What kind of a Brahmana is it that cooks and leaves the place that he cooked in dirtier than when he came? Prabhupada says a Brahmana leaves the place that he did his service in cleaner than when he came. Right? Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to hop off my soapbox. But we should be, the deity worship is such a great opportunity for us. But we've got to take advantage of it. That means punctuality, cleanliness, regularity, attention to detail. Everything should be left fit for purpose. Do you know what I mean by fit for purpose? So that when somebody else comes in to use the facility that I used previously, it's ready to go. That's reasonable, isn't it? Not unreasonable. But sometimes what we see is the cooks will come in, and we're assuming that they're brahmanas, and they'll leave the place filthy. So what does that tell you about the brahmana? Did he become humble or what? What do you think? Huh? Or, we stroll into the kitchen and we think, oh, what's for dinner? Right? And the prasadam in Melbourne is pretty good. We know that. But the kitchen is for preparing meals for Krishna, not for us. Right? So we shouldn't be going into Krishna's kitchen thinking, okay, what's in it for me? When we go into the kitchen, we should be thinking, how can I serve Radha Ballabha? And I know, I've done this, I've done it. Going into the kitchen, oh, what? Where are the milk sweets? Where's the burfi? Where's the sandesh? Where's the rasgulla? Huh? But actually we shouldn't be going into the kitchen with that mentality, because the deity worship, and that's an extension of the deity room, the deity worship is meant for the pleasure of Radha Ballabha and Jagannath and Gaunitai. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. I try to, on a few occasions, to honour every offering. And there's 7. And I was a lot younger than I am now. I was 23 or 24, but you know what? It's very hard to do. Krishna's able to eat 7 times a day because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if we try to do that, we'll be very sick. Right? And of course, there's the benefits. Why do we value Mahaprasadam? Why do we value the deity worship? Why do we value the darshan? It's of great benefit to the, as Prabhupada says here, meant for purifying the neophyte devotees. But of course, qualified by the following statement: preaching is more important. And so, as brahmanas, we need to be we should take advantage of the deity worship and the benefits that it brings, but it should be making us a better example of devotional service, and we should be focused on preaching. In fact, the deity worship and the behaviour of the devotees in many respects is our preaching. So there's no difference between the two. But the Brahminical qualities need to be self-effulgent. Right? A devotee influences others. Very often we influence others not by what we say, right? Although, speaking is important, best quality of a person, but our speaking has to be our prachar has to be supported by our achar, right? Speaking and doing. In other words, we say, put your money where your mouth is. Have you heard that saying? You haven't heard that saying? No. All right, I'll give it another way. Practice what you preach. Have you heard that one? Yeah. Is that easier to understand? Yeah. Yeah. Now, there's a warning here. There is actually no benefit, right? Na arta da. There is no benefit for those who are purusha dvisham. And that means, it's translated here as, because he is envious of who? Purusha. Now it's interesting because the Purusha has been discussed in the previous verses, right? Purusha, the Purusha avatars. And Krishna appears in the form of the Paramatma, who's the expansion of Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, one of the Purusha avatars. Right? So Lord Vishnu, in the form of the Paramatma, is the Purush. Right? Krishna is the Purush, the original, the Adi Purush, right? The original person. And not only the original person, but also the original person and his associates, the devotees, in other words. Rupa Goswami explains, Srila Prabhupada elaborates on how Krishna, when we speak of Krishna, when we think of Krishna, we don't just think of Krishna alone. But we think of Krishna and his expansions. We think of Krishna and his energies. We think of Krishna and his followers, his friends, his devotees. So Krishna is, and why Krishna consciousness is challenging for some, but enlightening for everybody actually, because, we teach such a comprehensive understanding of God. It's mind-blowing actually. When you come into the association of the devotees, and then there's all this stuff going on, all these personalities, all these incarnations, right? And we're told God is one, right? But then we have to challenge the fact that he's many. There's Krishna, there's Ram, there's Nrsimha, there's Varaha, right? There's Krishna in the form of the Supreme Person, right, the most worshipable, and there's Krishna in the form of a devotee who's dedicated to serving the most worshipable. So it's bewildering, actually. It's bewildering. When you come into the temple, you've got Prabhupada here, right? Which is, everybody can get that, I think, right? Everybody can get Prabhupada, that's okay. But then you come down here, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And some people say to me, who are these girls? Because, you know, in Bengal, Gaunitai is quite commonly understood and known. But in the rest of India, they're not aware of the Panchatattva. Not aware of him at all, them. So, and you know, Gaunitai are effectively the Panchatattva. And of course the representatives of Mayapur, Navadvip, and the Sankirtan Jagya, the worship of Krishna, or the performance of Sankirtan. Game of cricket afterwards, shall we? Eh? And then Radha Ballabha, then Jagannath Balarama Subhadra. So it's bewildering, actually, what's going on. Who's who? But of course, when one gets an opportunity, when in the association of the devotees, one learns how to appreciate all of the different manifestations of God. And that even though God is one, He's also many. So, we have an extensive and attractive and absorbing philosophy, but that philosophy has to be evidenced, has to be demonstrated by good behaviour. And an appreciation of Krishna and an appreciation of the devotees. Right? And unfortunately with the neophytes, there can be sometimes competition. Who's the best devotee? Or I'm the best devotee. It's a common characteristic of a neophyte, is to think that they're the best. And everybody should worship me because I'm the best. I'm on the path of perfection, right? In fact, I'm not on the path of perfection. I'm already perfect. Huh? And so there can be a little bit of envy in the heart of a devotee. It's not that they're not a devotee, actually, but still there's a bit of competition. Right? And so that's this Purushadvisham, and we have to remove those feelings of superiority and those feelings of competition. We need to work on a bit of humility, and that's one of the reasons why preaching is so important for us, because when we're out preaching, and this is evidenced by Lord Nityananda and Advaita-Acharya and Haridas Thakur, who are very exalted devotees, right? Very exalted. And as I mentioned the other day, you know, one year Lord Chaitanya had been meditating. And you see this in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Chaitanya Leela. Lord Chaitanya is concerned for the welfare of others. This is the nature of a devotee. Or if we were to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, and he's the Mahaprabhu, right? He's the Mahaprabhu. What's his concern? His concern is for the benefit of the fallen, Patita Pavana. Yeah. The saviour of the fallen. So he took Lord Nityananda, and was it Advaita-Acharya or Haridas? At least Lord Nityananda, he said, next year I think you should stay in Bengal and not come to Jagannath Puri. And you know, the life of the residents of Navadvip was to go to Jagannath Puri to see Lord Jagannath and to associate with Lord Chaitanya. Huh? To be with Lord Chaitanya. And, you know, we say, Asat Sangachag, the characteristic of a devotee is to give up material association and to associate only with the devotees. Right? Of course, if we did that, then where would be the benefit for anybody else? There wouldn't be any, because, oh no, I can't. You know, sometimes devotees say, oh, we shouldn't, you know, we can't have bad association. No, it'll be too detrimental for us. Be careful. But you know, how are we going to make any impact on anyone if all we do is stay in good association? So the purpose of good association, the purpose of deity worship is to become steady and fixed and strong so that we can go out and give our association to others for their benefit, but also for our benefit. And one of the advantages of, with Lord Nityananda was attacked by Jagai and Madai. Right? He's associated with the lowest of the low. But on the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he understood this principle of preaching is most important. It's Lord Chaitanya's mission, actually, and it's our mission as well. So the purpose of the deity worship is to strengthen us and make us fixed up in devotional service so that we can then go and, by developing the good qualities that automatically accrue to a devotee, we can then go out and help others. Kaschin me priya kritamaha. No one more dear to me. Right? So it's not about, you know, looking good. As much as it is about being good, doing good. And for the devotees, the top level of goodness is to preach. And in fact, the warning is here why we need to heed the advice here. We shouldn't be engaged in deity worship with an envious mentality, which may manifest in simple things like just promoting ourselves. We have to be careful about that. We're here to promote Krishna. And you know, as a result of devotional service, sometimes we do get praise, or we get money, or we get material benefits, but that's not what we do it for. We worship the deity for Krishna's pleasure and for our benefit, our purification. And it mentions here, if we have ulterior motives in worshipping the deity, we will remain in the lower stages, the lower stage of devotion here mentioned. So who wants to, hands up those who want to stay in the lower stages of devotion, please raise your hands. Nobody. Okay, good. So that means we're all preachers. Huh? And that's not easy. Well, it means book distribution. It means encouraging people to become devotees. And you know, there's this debate. We need a temple, we need a temple, we need a temple. We're brahmanas, we need a facility to do some service. Have you heard that complaint? Yeah. And it's Aniruddha who's stopping us. This is another meme. Right? Now hang on a second. Preaching, if you haven't got the money, what kind of a temple are you going to have? And what's more important? Here, preaching is more important. These other things will come automatically. You know, and it's as I mentioned about the history here in Melbourne, the devotees struggled like anything to keep the deity worship steady. Struggled and struggled and struggled. And that was in an era where there were 20 to 30 young men and women, 23, 24, 25, 26. All they did, and they did nothing else, was serve the deity and preach. And the emphasis, Prabhupada put the emphasis on book distribution. And collections too, because the devotees paid $180,000 for this temple, for this property. $180,000, that's peanuts in today's economy. But $180,000 in 1974 was a huge amount of money. Huh? So the devotees had to go out, the devotees would go out and sell incense on the street, get a donation for incense. You know, the three houses on this side of the temple were up for sale at the same time. And you know how much each one of those properties was up for sale for? What do you think? If the temple was up for sale for $180,000, how much do you think each one of those properties was worth at the time? No, 10. 30,000 for the three. And the devotees decided, no, too expensive, and didn't buy them. But all they needed to do was borrow another $30,000 and we could have had those three properties. That's pretty far out, isn't it? How much are they worth now? 6 million probably. The three of them, 2 million each. So the devotees work, and every week, Harinam. You know, there's an interesting statement where Prabhupada says in one letter, you can close the temple to go on Harinam, right? That didn't mean shut the temple down, you know, just go on Harinam. But what Prabhupada meant was you can close the doors so people can't come in, because nobody at the temple to look out, you know, to monitor things, and go out on Harinam. Some devotees say, look, Prabhupada says you can close the temple. Temples are not important. But temples obviously are important for us. We know the temple is important. So otherwise, why did Prabhupada bring Gaur Nitai? Why did Prabhupada bring Radha Ballabha? Why did Prabhupada encourage us to do Ratha Yatra? Right? And to worship Lord Jagannath? It's for our benefit. Right? But ultimately, that's the foundation for us preaching, going out to preach. So the deity worship, and we see that in a household. So many of our householders have deities, and they can worship the deity at home. But more importantly, preach, and it's a healthy. So in Melbourne, we have a healthy community of preachers. The Bhaktivedanta programs are making dozens and dozens of devotees. So the devotees are worshipping the deity at home, but they're also preaching, right? And book distribution is healthy. 150 devotees distributed books in the marathon. How many devotees last year did book distribution, Dweja? Throughout the year. Can't remember. It's a lot of devotees. So preaching is there. Needs to be there. But we need to be careful about our mentality in worshipping the deity and keeping the focus on Krishna, and the preaching focus on Krishna. Otherwise, if we have other motivations, then we'll remain as at the lower stage of devotion. You know, and one of the benefits, I didn't finish that story or that point. When you go out and preach, then people just, they don't care whether you're a Brahmana or, you know 25 verses of the Bhagavad Gita off by heart or whatever. They don't know any of that stuff. And they'll just say, well, I won't repeat what they say sometimes. They'll tell you, go and get a job. If that's probably the lightest of it, right? So huge benefits for preachers. It's difficult. It's a challenge. It's hard work. But the advancement that we make from pleasing Lord Chaitanya, ultimately pleasing Krishna, pleasing Prabhupada, because that was Lord Chaitanya's mission, is to introduce others to Krishna. And why we do Harinam? I mean, it's as simple as just going out on Harinam. It's not complicated. By chanting Hare Krishna, then everybody is purified. That's what Lord Chaitanya encouraged Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur and Advaita Acharya and the devotees. You know, in the beginning, it was kirtan just for the devotees, which is good. But Lord Chaitanya's mission was to take the kirtan out on the streets. And the Brihat Mridanga was to take the books out onto the streets to the people and to everybody, whether they're pious or impious. Everybody gets a go. Or there was a song in the 70s. There was a song. It was by a band called Hot Chocolate. I don't recommend that you necessarily go check this out, but it was called "Everyone's a Winner." Right? Everyone's a winner. So when we're out preaching, when we're out chanting Hare Krishna or out on book distribution, even though it's an austerity for us, the strength and the power or the determination and the energy, if you like, that comes from worshipping the deity and associating with the devotees in the temple, it gives us the enthusiasm and the determination to distribute, to give the whole. We're givers. I mentioned this the other day. We're givers, not takers. And so, and if we're given something, we want to give that to others. We don't just keep it for ourselves. And why the deity worship is so important, because it gives us the strength, the motivation, the determination to actually then give Krishna to others, which is Lord Chaitanya's mission. And from doing that comes the character building, the challenges and the trials, if you like, from which we can really make advancement. And put aside that competitive spirit, put aside any envy that we might have of others. Cultivate tolerance, humility. Instead of having a desire to be respected, we want to, what is it? Mana dena, amana dena, kirtaniya sada hari. Sometimes we think, oh, why would I do that? Such a problem, such a struggle, so difficult. The advantage of that is we actually make significant advancement. We make advancement from worshipping the deities and associating with the devotees. We make even more advancement when we go out and take on that burden of love and of affection and appreciation of what Lord Chaitanya has given us and share it with others. Okay, so now, does anybody have any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Aniruddha Prabhu. Thank you very much for a wonderful class. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Mainly three things. Namruchi, Jeev Daya and Vaishnav Seva. That's what you're emphasizing, all the 3 points. Mahaprabhu is telling how nicely he has preached to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Krishna Prabhu is giving these days very nice lecture on Madhya Leela. How nicely Mahaprabhu taught the lesson. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave 100 verses in his praise. And Gopinath Acharya, his brother-in-law, is so happy that he got the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and became a pure devotee right then and there. So this is what we have to see. How magnanimous is Mahaprabhu and how wonderful is our movement. And Srila Prabhupada, we have to give the main emphasis, who has brought us to this movement and changed our life completely, 100%.
Yeah.
And our mood is just preaching and chanting. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
There you are.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for wonderful class. Prabhu, you just mentioned, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, मान देना ना मान लेना कीर्तनीय सदा ही. Two things is okay. मान लेना, how we can handle that? Is not easy,
Offer
practical.
respects to others. Serve them. Do some service. Feed them prasadam. Give them good association. Give them a shoulder to cry on when they're having a tough time. Be a friend, but just be a friend. Huh? Yeah, be a friend. Be kind. Yeah. Dadati pratigrinati guyam makyati prichati bhunkte bhojayate chaiva sadvidhim priti lakshanam. So these are the exchanges of love are to give and to receive, to reveal one's mind in confidence and to inquire confidentially, and to receive and honour prasadam and give and distribute prasadam. Well, so if somebody comes to your house, what do? Yeah. And you say, oh, thanks for coming. Right? It's wonderful to see you here. Take a seat. How's it going? Well, we inquire confidentially. How are you? How's your bhajan? And we reveal our minds also, openly, honestly. And give prasad. Oh, yeah.
On the same point, I was there day before yesterday, on Sunday. Whole day I spent in Gopinath Dham. What a wonderful preaching is going on there. And prasadam was wonderful. Such good prasadam in the garden atmosphere. And Jagat Tarani Mataji has done a wonderful job. She has put so many leaves from Tere Kadam. She brought those leaves back to Perth and made drawings and pictures and carvings. And the deity of Narsingh Dev is so wonderful. You have to see. It's a deity made from the foam. Those who have visited Gopinath Dham, they will know what I'm saying. You have to really go and see. In Perth, it's not far. Only 3 hours from here.
Maharaj, let's see if anybody's got some questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Any comments?
Any other comments?
Just hang on to the mic. Comments or questions? Thoughts? Vera Chandra.
Hare Krishna. So you mentioned talking about deity worship and kitchen being the extension of deity room.
The what?
Kitchen, temple
kitchen is pretty important.
Yeah.
Pivotal location.
So like that, I was just thinking that anything that we do for the service of the Lord become the extension of the deity room.
Yeah.
Is it right?
Yeah.
Right understanding?
Yeah. Well, see, the whole idea is to understand who's the proprietor. And so the deity becomes the focal point of the activities of the devotees. And he's the proprietor. But what can happen sometimes is we start thinking, I'm the proprietor. Bhaktaram jagyatapasam savaloka maheshwaram. What is it?
Suritam.
Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. So the peace formula is to keep Krishna in the center, right? That's how the devotees maintain harmony in the society of devotees. Because the recognition is Radha Vallabha is the proprietor, right? And everybody's worshipping the same person. And the focus is the same. It's why we keep Prabhupada's mission paramount, topmost in our consciousness. Because if we keep the deity and if we keep the Founder-Acharya as the prime focus of our activities, then we're all going to be working for the same purpose. Right? Prabhupada gives the example of throwing rocks into a lake. And if you throw them all in different places, then the waves that are created by those individual rocks will eventually create, they'll clash, right? But if you have the same aim and you always hit the same spot, the waves that come out will always be, emanating in concentric circles out from the source. And there won't be any clash of, there won't be any dissonance. Huh? So the idea of worshipping the deity, or in our case the plural deities, is to engender within the devotees that mood of that bhakti rasa, right? Bhakti ras.
So coming back to deity worship again, Prabhu, it's...
What's that?
Coming back to deity worship again.
Yes, deity worship.
It is, and how it, for neophytes, it helps us to get the Brahmanical qualities. And one of the prime thing is in this is that you come to the mode of goodness level. But
better than that, you come to the
pure goodness.
Yes.
But at least you start off with goodness.
Bhakti. You come to the point of devotional service. Yeah.
And then I'm just trying to connect to a few things. And then humility comes in picture also, as you mentioned, that we are supposed to, have a bit. It should
as part of deity worship.
As part of deity worship, and also talking about this man dena, like giving respects.
Mm-hmm.
So these three things, I'm just trying to connect from Crossway's point of view, that being in the altar is like, you're doing attention to details, and then it does tend to make you a bit humble and bring you to the mode of goodness.
No, but here's what happens.
Goodness.
Once you get it down, then you start thinking, I'm pretty good. I've got the externals down, so now I must be advanced. Right? That's what happens. Can happen. Doesn't always happen, by the way. But can happen. And I'm Krishna's representative, and so you get benefit by serving me. Right? That's what can happen. Doesn't always happen, but it can happen. These are the things we need to be careful. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions that there are anarthas, right, that arise from the performance of bhakti. Woo! Right? Anarthas that don't accrue to anybody else but come as a result of being a devotee. That's pretty far out. So there are challenges. Which we've seen in history, in the history of spiritual culture. And some show bottle behaviour, right? And it can be dangerous. Like, I won't give any examples, but so deity worship, yes, immensely beneficial, but we need to make sure that it's approached with the right mentality so that the anarthas don't choke up the bhakti lata. Huh? And it can even happen for preachers. Like we say, preaching is better, most important, but then the preachers start thinking, I'm the most important devotee. Huh? I'm the Crossways manager. You guys all do what I tell you to do, okay? Right? Even we've got a little position. I'm not suggesting that that's what you're doing, by the way. Just an example, by way of some humour. So it's very interesting here. We're talking about ideal family life, and worship of the deity is being encouraged. Right? Even the other day, Prabhupada, the Bhagavatam was talking about all of these holy places that, as a householder, you can visit for purification. But then what does Prabhupada say in the purport? Anybody remember? What does Prabhupada say in the purport? Brajaraj, what did he say? Do you remember? You gave the class, so you should remember. What did Prabhupada say? These places are not important. The important places are the temples where the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is worshipping the deity. And along with the deity worship is the discussions of spiritual topics. So Does that make sense, Virachandra? Did I cover what your question? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsham Shri Rupam Chakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Shadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.